Welcome to Stoic Flame channel.
Your mind is a battlefield, or it can be your greatest weapon. Every single day, an internal dialogue unfolds within you. Sometimes, this voice uplifts you, inspiring greatness and resilience. More often, for many, it becomes a relentless inner critic, whispering doubts, "You're not good enough, it's too late, nothing you do is working." Without conscious awareness, we begin to internalize these messages, accepting them as truth and allowing them to dictate our reality. But what if this pervasive, often sabotaging voice isn't the enemy at all? What if, instead, it's merely a powerful tool, a supercomputer, that has simply been misdirected, aimed inward against its owner? Today, that narrative shifts. The very mind that might be undermining you possesses an incredible capacity to be reprogrammed, transformed into an ally that brings focus, peace, power, and profound personal transformation. This isn't just fleeting motivational sentiment, it's a profound journey into self-mastery, grounded in ancient Stoic philosophy and powerfully validated by modern neuroscience. We will explore the mechanisms behind runaway thoughts, how your brain constructs negative feedback loops, and present powerful, yet simple, mental rewiring techniques that would earn the admiration of the Stoics and are confirmed by contemporary science. Whether you're weary of the ceaseless inner critic or poised to transmute your pain into a driving purpose, this is your definitive guide to reclaiming control. Your mind no longer controls you. You control your mind. Let's embark on this transformative path. 1. Reclaiming your inner supercomputer, the mind as master, not slave. Imagine your brain as the most formidable tool in the known universe. It possesses an adaptability beyond any program and a power exceeding any machine. However, this unparalleled instrument also holds the potential to be more dangerous than any weapon if it is turned against its own operator. The tragic reality is that most individuals navigate life without ever fully grasping this truth. They mistakenly believe that their mind, the persistent internal voice, the gnawing self-doubt, the paralyzing fear, the relentless overthinking, is who they are. Yet, the profound truth, understood by the Stoics long before modern science articulated it, is that this voice is merely programming. It is not the truth of your being, but a pattern. As the revered Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius wisely penned, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. This isn't merely an inspiring quote. It is, in essence, survival training for anyone committed to mastering their inner world. You cannot dictate the unfolding of the world around you, but you possess absolute authority over how you relate to it. The core issue is that the majority of people fail to claim this inherent power. Instead of purposefully directing their vast mental energy outward, towards construction, growth, leadership, and contribution, they tragically turn it inward. This creates an agonizing internal battlefield, a constant conflict within their own consciousness. They become trapped in a ceaseless cycle of obsession, replaying past conversations, fixating on what others might think, or catastrophizing over potential mishaps. They run mental simulations of failure on an endless loop, and knowingly programming themselves for defeat. Consider this brutal honesty. Your brain is fundamentally a goal-seeking machine. Whatever signal, whatever objective you feed it, it will diligently seek out and find evidence to affirm that signal. If you perpetually tell yourself, "I'm not good enough," your brain, in its relentless pursuit of confirmation, will filter your entire world to prove that belief correct. If your internal mantra becomes, "This is hopeless," your mind will meticulously highlight every setback, every challenge, while simultaneously blinding you to every single emerging opportunity. However, Here's a crucial truth that often goes unsaid: your thoughts are not commands, they are mere suggestions. You are not obligated to obey them. In fact, if your mind is left unattended, its default state is naturally chaotic. Modern neuroscience unequivocally confirms this reality. Studies reveal that when the brain is idle, the default mode network DMN becomes highly active. The DMN, fascinatingly, is the very neural network responsible for tendencies like overthinking, rumination, self-criticism, and mental time travel, dwelling on past regrets or becoming consumed by future anxieties. In simpler terms, an unmanaged brain transforms into a perpetual loop of emotional noise. This understanding illuminates why the Stoics, centuries ago, rigorously trained themselves daily to filter out the necessary. Seneca's profound observation, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality," was not a poetic flourish but a clinical diagnosis. The vast majority of your suffering is not directly caused by external events themselves, but rather by your interpretation of those events. While you may not be able to prevent every thought from arising, you possess the absolute power to control what you choose to focus on. Focus is power. When you consciously and deliberately direct your attention, you fundamentally redirect your energy, and it is precisely at this point that profound transformation begins. This transformation, however, is not accidental. Just as you meticulously train your physical body, you must commit to training your mind. Currently, many individuals navigate their lives with their mental energy inadvertently set to auto-destruct. Unaware, they relentlessly feed themselves negative loops, adopt weak assumptions, cling to toxic beliefs, and foster emotional instability, day after day. This is precisely why genuine confidence doesn't magically appear from mere positive thinking. Instead, it blossoms from clear mental discipline. It is the honed ability to instantly recognize when your mind is beginning to spiral, and then to consciously shift direction. It is the courage to take a painful thought, meticulously question its validity, neutralize its power, and courageously move forward regardless. Ultimately, it is the profound ability to cease fighting yourself internally for long enough to begin the sacred work of building yourself. So, here is your urgent wake-up call. You have been entrusted with a supercomputer. Cease using it as a tool for self-destructs. Begin instead to harness its immense power to create the life you truly desire. Understand this fundamental distinction. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of them. You are not your fears. You are the one who ultimately decides whether or not they will lead you. You are not your mind. You are its master. This is the essence of Marcus Aurelius's timeless wisdom. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. What colors are you actively feeding your mind? Are you meticulously programming it with discipline, clarity, and strategic intent? Or are you allowing it to run wild, polluted by fear, incessant noise, and the uninvited opinions of those who don't even live your life? The answer to this pivotal question will shape your entire future. And it all commences with one monumental shift. Treat your brain with the reverence and intention it deserves as the supercomputer is. Be profoundly intentional about every input, because every thought is a command line, and your destiny is merely the execution of your mental code. 2. Breaking the loops, escaping the default mode network, and Fantasi every single day. You likely believe you are actively thinking, yet, for a significant portion of that time, you are merely looping. It's the same thoughts, the identical patterns, the familiar emotional reactions, all cleverly disguised as reasoned deliberation. You might convince yourself you're being cautiously prudent, when in reality, you're merely consumed by fear. You might rationalize your stance as being realistic, but in truth, you're just rehearsing failure repeatedly in advance. You tell yourself you're engaged in deep analysis, but the outcome is often paralysis. And here lies the stark and varnished truth. The majority of your thoughts today are nothing more than recycled versions of yesterday's self-doubt. Your brain is, by design, a system that operates in loops. It is engineered to learn through relentless repetition, building intricate neural highways through habitual engagement. Whatever mental path you've traversed most frequently automatically becomes your default route. So, if you have consistently replayed experiences of pain, criticism, rejection, or failure, whether consciously aware of it or not, what do you imagine happens? That becomes your mental home base. Your mind begins to anticipate negativity, actively searching for it, and, most alarmingly, it starts to create it. This is the insidious trap that has derailed countless talented minds. They tragically confuse familiar pain with absolute truth. The Stoics, with their profound understanding of the human condition, had a precise name for this invisible enemy, Fantasi, or distorted impressions. Seneca, once again, offered a timeless insight. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Modern neuroscience resoundingly confirms his ancient wisdom. The human brain, in a remarkable yet often detrimental way, cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined fear and a genuine, immediate threat. The same neural regions ignite, the same potent chemicals are released, and the same cortisol stress response floods your entire body. In essence, your physical body suffers not from what is actually happening in the present moment, but from what your mind relentlessly rehearses. This debilitating cycle, once established, does not spontaneously break itself. To shatter these self-defeating loops, you require two fundamental elements: awareness. You simply cannot combat what you cannot perceive. This is precisely why practices such as journaling, meditation, and quiet reflection are not mere luxuries, but powerful weapons in your arsenal for mental freedom. They provide you with the essential space to observe the loop from a detached perspective, rather than being inextricably trapped within its confines. The next time a negative spiral begins to ensnare you, try this immediate intervention pause. Take a deliberate moment and ask yourself, is this thought helpful, or is it merely habitual? Am I reacting to what is truly real, or to what I have been conditioned to expect? What would a Stoic do with this particular impression? Even that fleeting moment of conscious distance immediately confers power upon you, because at that very instant, you transcend being the thought, you become the thinker. Interruption. You must break the destructive pattern before it gains unstoppable momentum. Most people tragically wait far too long. They allow a negative thought to repeat 20, 30, or even more times before they finally attempt to intervene. By then, it's often too late. The loop has already acquired significant momentum, thoroughly hijacking their entire day. However, if you possess the discipline to interrupt it early, at the first or second repetition, you can effectively collapse the loop before it fully integrates into your identity. So, how exactly do you initiate this vital interruption? The methods are diverse and potent. Movement. Physically stand up. Go for a walk. Engage in deep breathing exercises. Shake off the stagnant energy. Laughter. Break the suffocating seriousness of the moment. Watch something utterly absurd. Reset your emotional state through humor. Reframing. Actively challenge the narrative that your mind is constructing. Ask yourself, what if the opposite were true? This is not an act of denial. It is a sophisticated process of cognitive rescripting. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus profoundly stated, it's not things that disturb us, but our judgment about them. If your internal judgment system is flawed, your imperative is to fix the lens through which you perceive, not to attempt to change the entire world. Here's the secret that will liberate you. You don't have to solve your negative thoughts. You merely have to stop feeding them. They possess no inherent power. They only survive if you consistently give them airtime, if you nourish them with your attention. Many individuals falter not due to inherent weakness, but because they unwittingly direct their precious mental energy to the wrong internal dialogue. They become investors in their doubts, sponsors of their fears, and validators of their shame through their own unwavering attention. And then they express bewilderment as to why they feel perpetually stuck. If you truly desire to redirect the trajectory of your life, you must begin by redirecting your focus. Every single instance you successfully break a negative loop, you weaken its hold over you. Every time you interrupt a destructive pattern, you reclaim vital energy that was previously squandered. Every time you challenge a lie that your mind whispers to you, you are actively training your brain to obey you, not the ingrained patterns of your past. This, unequivocally, is what true self-mastery looks like. It is not about achieving an impossible state of perfection, but rather cultivating the acute ability of pattern recognition. It is not about wielding absolute control over every fleeting emotion, but about establishing unwavering authority over which thoughts are permitted to reside within your mental domain. Therefore, let this become your new, unwavering rule. If the thought weakens me, it does not belong in me. This principle is simple, ruthlessly effective, and deeply Stoic. You are not merely living, you are actively building a mind meticulously fit for leadership, a mind steeped in clarity, a mind capable of profound peace. However, you cannot genuinely lead others if you have not first learned to lead the intricate conversations unfolding within your own head. And with every single loop you successfully break, you take one more powerful step closer to absolute freedom. 3. The art of focus, reclaiming your mind from the attention economy. Let's be uncomfortably honest. Most often, you are not truly tired. You are profoundly distracted. You are not genuinely overwhelmed by the vastness of life itself. You are overwhelmed by the incessant clamor of everything that fundamentally doesn't matter. We are living in an omnipresent attention economy, an ecosystem where your focus is the most valuable currency. And in this landscape, every flashing notification, every sensational headline, every utterly meaningless opinion shared online is meticulously designed to bankrupt your attention. You are not losing your mind, you are simply renting it out to mental garbage. And if you fail to consciously seize control, rest assured, someone else will eagerly step in to dictate where your mental resources are spent. In this modern age, focus is no longer a luxury. It has become a fundamental form of self-defense. If you lack the discernment to understand what you must rigorously ignore, you will forever struggle to truly discern what you ought to value. Consider Marcus Aurelius, arguably the most powerful man of his era who, amidst the immense responsibilities of ruling an empire, meticulously carved out time for silence. He wrote in his personal meditations, "You must reclaim your mind from distraction. Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free than your own soul if you keep it pure." If a man with the weight of an empire on his shoulders could prioritize mental purity, what, then, is our excuse for succumbing to constant noise? There is a profound, often overlooked hidden cost to this pervasive noise. Every time you idly scroll, compulsively swipe, or impulsively react to online nonsense, you are making a silent, yet powerful decision. I choose this over my peace. I choose this over my growth. I choose noise over clarity. While it may not feel like such a monumental choice in the moment, that is precisely its insidious effect. Mental clutter, though invisible, generates very real fatigue. It systematically erodes your capacity to think deeply, to act decisively, and to live a truly meaningful existence. And this erosion aligns perfectly with what the world of incessant noise desires. If you are perpetually distracted, you become compliant. If you are constantly reactive, you become utterly predictable. If you are addicted to external validation, you are effortlessly controlled. But here lies the liberating Stoic truth: a focused mind cannot be manipulated. And that, in itself, makes you dangerous. Dangerous to those who seek to control your narrative, dangerous to your own self-sabotaging patterns. Modern neuroscience provides compelling confirmation. Your brain operates with a limited cognitive bandwidth. This precious resource is utilized for every mental process: thinking, planning, regulating emotions, and making decisions. When you squander this finite bandwidth chasing superficial stimuli, likes, clicks, online debates, you are effectively draining the very fuel essential for your personal transformation. Stanford research aptly terms this phenomenon attention residue. Every time you switch tasks or absorb a piece of trivial drama, a portion of your focus lingers on the previous engagement. After merely a dozen such switches, you are left feeling mentally fragmented and foggy. The profound insight is that clarity does not emerge from exerting more effort, it manifests from embracing less distraction. It's time to seize back the reins of your own mind. Here is the Stoic Focus Protocol, a blueprint for how truly confident, high-performance minds fiercely defend their most valuable asset, their focus. Silence is scheduled, not optional. Do not passively hope for quiet moments to appear. Actively create them. Block time for deep work. Designate specific periods where there is no phone, no external noise, just you and the pure essence of your thoughts. Schedule low-stim mornings. Begin your day without the immediate onslaught of social media or emails. Instead, dedicate this sacred time to practices like journaling, stretching, or reading. Even a mere 30 minutes each day consistently builds profound mental muscle. Your inputs equal your outputs. What you consciously consume actively writes the script for how you think and perceive the world. Curate your digital environment and follow accounts that drain your energy or evoke negative emotions. Cease consuming drama disguised as content. Replace junk dopamine with curated inspiration. Seek out enriching material like insightful books, profound lectures, and the timeless wisdom of Stoic writings. As Epictetus wisely counseled, if you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This includes comfortably being out of touch with the latest fleeting chaos. Guard your inner circle. Acknowledge that some individuals, despite their intentions, can be sources of mental pollution. Discernment in relationships. These individuals don't challenge you to grow, they merely distract you. They don't fuel your potential, they drain your vital energy. Protect your space. It is not elitist to safeguard your mental and emotional space. It is a fundamental act of self-responsibility. Intentional association. Deliberately surround yourself only with those individuals who genuinely elevate you, who make you better. Everyone else, in essence, is merely noise. Seneca offered a profound distillation of this truth. Focus is not a skill, it's a lifestyle. Many people mistakenly believe their primary need is more motivation. They don't. What they truly require are fewer distractions, fewer mental, emotional, and digital tabs open simultaneously. They need to expend less energy on the exhausting cycle of proving, pleasing, or perpetually predicting. Your genuine power doesn't reside in what you strive to do, it resides, far more significantly, in what you bravely stop doing. Eliminate the necessary, and the truly necessary will speak to you with undeniable clarity. So, make a conscious decision. Stop feeding the noise. Stop impulsively reacting to every stimulus. Stop allowing the external world to unilaterally dictate where your precious mind resides. Reclaim it as your own domain. For the mind that cultivates calmness possesses the ability to cut deeper, to penetrate profound truths, far more effectively than one that is constantly loud and agitated. And the individual who masterfully protects their attention ultimately becomes untouchable, impervious to the chaos that consumes others. If you're still on this ride, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe before we jump into the next section. It really motivates us to keep making more videos. Let's move on. 4. The weapon of detachment, mastering your emotional landscape. Here is a fundamental truth that most people never truly grasp. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them. The instant you forget this crucial distinction, you unwittingly become a prisoner, a captive of every fleeting emotion, every external trigger, every tumultuous mental storm that passes through your consciousness. The Stoics understood this profound reality centuries before modern psychology even had the vocabulary to name it. As we've noted, Marcus Aurelius's declaration, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength," is far more than a mere motivational slogan. It is survival training for anyone aspiring to master their mind. You lack the ability to control the external world, but you possess absolute dominion over how you choose to relate to it. The vast majority of human suffering arises not from the objective reality of events, but from the stories, the interpretations they attach to those events. Consider a scenario: you experience rejection. That is the raw event. But the profound pain that follows, the emotional spiral, stems from the meaning you layered onto it. I must not be good enough. They never truly valued me. I always fail. You don't descend into a spiral because of what happened. You spiral because you emotionally identified with what happened. And it is precisely at this juncture that detachment emerges as your most potent weapon. But what exactly is Stoic detachment? Let's be unequivocally clear: detachment is not apathy. It is not a state of emotional numbness. It is certainly not about pretending you simply don't care. Rather, detachment is emotional intelligence in its most active form. It is the cultivated ability to observe your intricate inner world without permitting it to dominate or dictate your behavior. Picture a seasoned general surveying a chaotic battlefield. He does not shriek in terror when the enemy advances. He does not succumb to panic at the sound of the first explosion. Instead, with unwavering composure, he observes the unfolding situation, meticulously adjusts his strategy, and then executes his plan with profound clarity. You must strive to become that general for your own inner world, the calm, discerning observer of your thoughts and emotions. This brings us to the trap of identification. We commonly utter phrases like, "I am angry," "I am anxious," "I am depressed." However, these are fleeting states, not the immutable core of your identity. Observe the profound difference when you consciously choose to say, instead, "There is anger within me. There is anxiety rising. There is a heaviness today." Do you perceive the subtle, yet immensely powerful, distinction? The first phrasing inextricably makes you the emotion. The second, however, instantly positions you as the witness of that emotion. And once you step into the role of the witness, the emotion immediately loses its suffocating grip over you. This is not ethereal spiritual fluff. This is high-performance neuroscience, firmly backed by cognitive distancing techniques that are proven to reduce emotional reactivity and significantly enhance decision-making capabilities. In essence, if you can consciously name it, you can tame it. Here are powerful practices to diligently strengthen the observer within you, to meticulously build your own psychological fortress, the 5-second rule of awareness, before you react to anything. A critical comment, a frustrating setback, a surge of irritation. Deliberately pause. Take a full 5 seconds to consciously name precisely what you are feeling. Say to yourself, I notice tension, or I feel the urge to prove myself, or oh, there's fear showing up right now. This deceptively simple yet profound gap between a stimulus and your immediate response is precisely where your true power resides. Journaling as emotional detox each night. Engage in the purifying practice of dumping your thoughts onto paper. The purpose here is not to merely complain or vent, but to meticulously dissect them. Ask yourself probing questions. What emotion dominated me today? What specific event or thought triggered it? What internal story did I relentlessly tell myself about it? This consistent habit transforms impulsive reaction into thoughtful reflection, and that reflection, in turn, blossoms into profound wisdom. Meditation. The goal of meditation is not to force your mind into an unnatural state of emptiness, but rather to see it clearly, precisely as it is. Don't sit down with the expectation of immediate relaxation. Sit down with the intention to observe. Notice the recurring patterns of your thoughts. Watch your cravings rise and then gently subside. Allow your emotions to surface and then permit them to pass through you, much like transient weather patterns. A foundational insight here is crucial. You are not the storm. You are the vast and wavering sky through which it quietly moves. Detachment is power because it serves as an impenetrable shield against self-sabotage. Without this crucial ability, you find yourself uttering words you deeply regret, making impulsive choices driven by fear, relentlessly chasing fleeting external validation instead of pursuing your profound inner vision, and reacting vehemently to situations that, in hindsight, should have been utterly ignored. But with detachment as your cultivated strength, you become intriggerable. You are capable of thinking 3 moves ahead, responding thoughtfully instead of explosively reacting. You lead not with frantic noise, but with an unwavering stillness. This is the very essence shared by spiritual discipline and executive mindset. And true emotional intelligence, the remarkable ability to maintain profound calm while everyone else around you succumbs to collapse. That deep, internal calm is not some random gift bestowed upon a lucky few. It is a deliberate decision, a diligently trained muscle, a rigorous daily discipline forged through consistent, conscious observation. The Stoics were not reclusive monks seeking refuge from pain. They were, in fact, formidable warriors of the mind, perpetually training themselves to perceive reality with crystal clarity, to detach from impulsive urges, and to masterfully lead themselves even when life descended into utter chaos. And now, this profound path is open to you. You don't require more advice, you require more awareness. You don't need more opinions, you need more observation. You don't need more reaction, you need more restraint. And the individual who masters these virtues ultimately masters themselves. 5. Strategic energy allocation. From scattered to laser focus, the fundamental issue is not a lack of energy, it is a lack of direction. Every single morning, you awaken with a fully charged battery of potential. Yet, instead of channeling that potent energy like a precisely aimed laser, most individuals scatter it indiscriminately, like a broken flashlight whose beam leaks into every corner. Their mental power dissipates into unnecessary drama, countless distractions, endless comparison, and an avalanche of meaningless noise. And then, understandably, they wonder why nothing in their lives fundamentally changes. The truth is strikingly simple. You do not lack motivation, you lack alignment. You lack focus. A truly high-performance mindset is not about frantically doing more, it is about doing significantly less, but doing it with absolute, unwavering clarity. And that profound clarity begins the moment you cease indiscriminately leaking your precious energy and instead begin to command it with deliberate intent. Scattered energy is the ultimate enemy of self-mastery. Let's confront this brutal honesty. Most people do not control their energy, they effectively outsource it. A single text message can catastrophically ruin their entire mood. One hateful comment seen online can steal their attention for hours, leading to unproductive rumination. An old, painful memory can trigger a spiral that completely derails their entire day. This is not a life lived with power, it is a life consumed by reactivity. And in the timeless words of Epictetus, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. In other words, your energy is not simply stolen from you. In almost every instance, you willingly give it away. But here is the profound Stoic truth that will empower you. What you give your attention to, you inevitably give your life to. And if you fail to consciously decide where your vital energy is directed, rest assured, someone or something else will make that decision for you. To transition from a state of scattered dissipation to one of strategic intent, you must embrace the discipline of energy allocation. Energy, much like money, demands a meticulously crafted budget. The most elite performers across every field, whether they are athletes striving for peak physical prowess, philosophers delving into profound truths, or CEOs navigating complex corporate landscapes, treat their energy as if it were pure gold. They refuse to squander it on petty arguments, on pointless scrolling through digital feeds, on interactions with people who relentlessly drain them, or on dwelling on past regrets they are utterly powerless to change. Instead, they rigorously apply this timeless Stoic principle. At every single moment, ask yourself, is this necessary? This simple query, championed by Marcus Aurelius, is a powerful filter. Because every unnecessary distraction you permit into your mental space represents a tax on your inherent power. Every fleeting dopamine loop, every pointless mental argument you engage in, every unspoken grudge you cling to, you pay for these indulgences in a tangible loss of clarity. And clarity, above all else, is what meticulously creates dominance in any chosen field. Your energy must be actively directed, not merely defensively protected. It is insufficient to simply guard your energy, you must also aim it intentionally, like a precisely calibrated weapon. Ask yourself these penetrating questions. What one project unequivocally deserves the entirety of my energy today? What single habit is consistently leaking my power on a daily basis? Who, simply by their proximity, seems to drain my focus and vitality? What specific thought pattern is mercilessly wasting my precious willpower? And, most importantly, what would the strongest, most aligned version of myself do right now? Because when your energy is fragmented and scattered, you inevitably feel lost, adrift. But when your energy is purposefully directed, you feel incredibly dangerous, to stagnation, to self-doubt, to anything that stands between you and your highest potential. This is the essence of the laser mindset, emotional discipline observed in powerful action. Imagine this vivid scene: a man calmly enters a room consumed by utter chaos. Everyone around him is panicking, phones are ringing incessantly, people are shouting wildly. Yet, he does not react. He takes one slow, deliberate breath. He calmly surveys his surroundings. He then walks directly to the core of the problem and, with quiet efficiency, solves it. That is presence. That is focus. That is power held firmly under control. This is precisely what emotional discipline looks like in motion. It is not the absence of emotion, but the profound mastery over where that emotion is consciously placed. For emotion without direction is merely noise, but emotion wielded with focus becomes devastatingly effective firepower. To transition from a scattered existence to a strategic, laser-focused one. Integrate these potent rituals into your daily life. Start your day in silence before you even consider checking your phone. Before you utter a single word, sit in profound stillness. Breathe deeply. Ask yourself, what do I want this day to mean? This sets an intentional frame for your mental energy. Cut one energy leak per week. Identify a single habit that consistently drains your mental or emotional energy. Perhaps it's endless doom scrolling through negative news or engaging in unproductive gossip. Choose one such habit each week and commit to eliminating or significantly reducing it. Protect your peak hours. For most individuals, their sharpest, most productive mental hours occur within the first 3 hours after waking. Guard these hours like an invaluable treasure. During this sacred time, implement a strict no email, no noise, no nonsense policy. Dedicate these hours to your most important, demanding tasks. Journal your mental waste. At the conclusion of each day, take a few moments to write down specifically where you wasted mental energy. The aim is not to judge yourself harshly, but simply to observe. This act of awareness is the foundational step that meticulously builds correction and redirects future energy. The final, potent insight is this: the one who focuses wins. In a world that relentlessly rewards multitasking and superficial breadth, the Stoic path demands singularity of purpose. This isn't because it's trendy, it's because it is profoundly effective. The skilled warrior sharpens one blade. The master builder meticulously lays one stone at a time. The Stoic mind disciplines itself to focus on one thought, one task, one vital objective. That is the unparalleled power of intentional energy. It is the quiet force that moves mountains, one focused strike at a time. So, the next time you feel fragmented and scattered, remember this undeniable truth: a chaotic life is often the direct result of undisciplined energy. And to reclaim that life, you must first and foremost reclaim your focus. 6. Unshakable confidence. Building self-worth from within. Confidence perishes the very moment you outsource your self-worth. And tragically, this is precisely what the majority of people do, day in and day out. Instead of genuinely asking themselves, what do I truly value? They instead obsessively inquire, what do others approve of? They exist within a constantly distorted mirror, reflecting back filtered opinions, curated standards, and the projected insecurities of individuals who themselves barely understand who they are. And then, bewildered, they wonder why their confidence feels so fragile, so easily shattered. Here is a fundamental truth that nearly no one vocalizes: when your intrinsic value is contingent upon the opinions or approval of others, it will inevitably vanish the instant their minds change. This is the confidence trap: external validation. Consider the common behaviors. You post something online, then compulsively refresh your screen, waiting for the elusive likes to accumulate. You wear a new outfit, subtly scanning the room for approving reactions. You finally speak your mind, only to later replay the entire moment in your head, consumed by a paralyzing fear of judgment. This is not genuine confidence. It is a form of self-surveillance, an exhausting, continuous performance that cultivates a dangerous addiction to external validation. The Stoics, with their profound foresight, warned us of this very trap many centuries ago. Epictetus, in his timeless wisdom, declared, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." And why? Because true growth inherently demands independence from the fleeting praise of others. If your sense of well-being is solely dependent on the approval of others, you are not genuinely growing, You are merely performing. And the performer, by definition, is perpetually a prisoner of the applause. True confidence is meticulously built upon an unshakable foundation of self-respect. The truly confident individual does not look outward to gauge their worth or assess their performance. They look inward. They measure their progress not by the fickle winds of public opinion, but by the unwavering anchor of their deeply held values. They track their growth not by the volume of applause, but by the unwavering discipline they apply. And, most crucially, they would rather face the potential disappointment of the world than commit the ultimate betrayal of themselves. This is emotional independence. It doesn't equate to arrogance, it signifies a profound groundedness. Imagine a magnificent tree, deeply rooted in stillness, while the tempestuous winds of public opinion wildly buffet it. It stands firm and yielding. This is precisely what self-worth looks like when it is unburdened by the corrosive weight of comparison. It is not louder or flashier, it is profoundly deeper. Modern neuroscience provides compelling evidence for what Stoicism intuitively understood. Comparison actively triggers the brain's pain centers. Specifically, it ignites the very same neural circuits that are activated by physical injury. This explains why the experience of social media can often feel so toxic, so deeply draining. You are not merely looking, you are, often subconsciously, engaging in constant social ranking. And the precise moment your brain perceives that you rank yourself below someone else, it unleashes a cascade of stress hormones, most notably cortisol. Over time, this chronic internal comparison systematically destroys your focus, obliterates clarity, and erodes your fundamental confidence. The powerful fix for this self-inflicted wound is straightforward. Stop looking for external mirrors to define you. Instead, become the unwavering source of your own validation. Embrace an executive mindset, operating exclusively on internal KPIs, key performance indicators. These are your personal metrics of success, independent of external judgment. Did I act with unwavering integrity today? Did I uphold the promise I made to myself, no matter how small? Did I have the courage to say no to things that would weaken me or divert my purpose? Did I prioritize long-term peace over the fleeting comfort of short-term approval? If the answer to these internal questions is a resounding yes, then you have won. It doesn't matter if nobody applauds, if nobody offers a word of praise. Because when you possess an unshakable trust in your own path, you don't require a cheering section. You simply require traction, the undeniable internal evidence of consistent, aligned action. Here is a powerful, 3-step daily ritual to help you break free from the mirror of external validation. Journal this line every morning. Dedicate time each morning to write this precise statement. Today, I will not measure myself by the reactions of others. Write it, internalize it by reading it aloud, and truly feel its truth reverberate within you. Spend 1 hour completely unobserved. Intentionally set aside a full hour of your day where you engage in no social media, seek no feedback loops, and perform for no one. Simply be. Cook a meal, take a solitary walk, engage in deep thought, or simply exist without the constant lens of external perception. End the day with this question before bed. Reflect on your day and ask, did I disappoint anyone today because I stayed true to myself? If your honest answer is yes, then celebrate it unequivocally. That is not a failure, that is a profound win. The final insight is this: mirrors are designed for reflection, not for direction. Truly confident individuals do not consult mirrors to determine their path forward. They inherently understand that a mirror merely shows who you were, not who you are becoming. So, cease the exhausting chase after fleeting reflections. You are not here to merely echo the world's expectations. You are here to shape it, with your deliberate silence, your unwavering vision, and your absolute refusal to shrink yourself for the comfort or approval of someone else. Break the mirror, walk boldly past the noise, and never, ever look back. 7. Mental dominance without words, setting your own frame in every room you enter, every conversation you engage in, and every confrontation you face. Someone is inevitably setting the frame. The frame is the unspoken, often subtle, assumption that dictates how things are perceived and interpreted. And the individual who subtly owns the frame effortlessly controls the room, even if they remain completely silent. Let's be unequivocally blunt, you either walk into a situation carrying your own strong frame, or you will inevitably be absorbed into someone else's. And the unfortunate reality for most people is that they shrink, they adapt their behavior. They defer to others because they have not yet mastered the single skill that fundamentally transforms everything. Mental dominance achieved without uttering a single word. In the realm of psychology, the frame refers to the context that fundamentally defines how we interpret behavior. Consider the powerful impact of context. If a man shouts passionately at a football game, he's typically perceived as enthusiastic. However, if that same man shouts in a professional meeting, he's instantly labeled as unhinged or unprofessional. The context dramatically alters the meaning. And here lies the brutal Stoic truth. The individual who successfully defines the context inevitably controls the narrative. Marcus Aurelius, despite his immense authority, never needed to raise his voice or yell to exert dominance. His very presence alone was sufficient to set the entire tone of any environment. He exuded a profound calmness, a decisive composure. This is because when your internal frame is robust and unshakable, you do not need to force influence, you naturally radiate it. Most people, upon entering a room, instinctively begin searching for permission. They timidly look around, scanning faces for signs of approval. They adjust their posture, attempting to blend seamlessly into the existing environment. They remain oblivious to the fact that, in this very act, they have already conceded their power. Because when you walk into a space with a palpable need for external validation, you have, in essence, handed your authority to individuals who have not even earned your respect. Stoicism fundamentally flips this equation on its head. You are the one who brings the frame. You are the one who deliberately decides what this particular moment signifies. You act from an unshakable core belief, one that does not tremble or falter, regardless of who might be watching or judging. So, what precisely does a strong frame look like in practice? It is not characterized by loudness or overt aggression. Instead, it emanates certainty. It manifests as eye contact that is direct and steady, yet does not seek or demand approval. Words that are deliberate and measured, not rushing to fill uncomfortable silences. Movements that are purposeful and controlled, devoid of anxious fidgeting. Silence that is not awkward or uncomfortable, but inherently dominant and commanding. When you genuinely embody these qualities, a remarkable phenomenon occurs. People unconsciously adjust to you. They subtly shift their tone to match yours. They align their energy with your calm certainty. And sometimes, almost imperceptibly, they may even seek your implicit permission to speak. This doesn't happen because you demanded it. It occurs because your profound belief in your own authority was infinitely louder than their own inherent insecurity. To cultivate this magnetic presence, you must build your frame from within. An individual committed to self-mastery does not frantically chase after control. Instead, they emanate it naturally. This internal frame is meticulously constructed with unwavering purpose. I know why I'm here. a clear understanding of your intention and mission. Preparation. I'm ready for what comes. The quiet confidence that arises from having anticipated and mentally rehearsed various scenarios. Principles. I won't violate my code to please you. An unshakable adherence to your personal values, regardless of external pressure. Presence. You will feel me without needing to hear me. A powerful, calm aura that communicates competence and self-possession. This combination of qualities defines the leadership presence exhibited by every truly great general, successful CEO, profound philosopher, and exemplary Stoic throughout history. It is not about conferred status, it is about unwavering certainty. Because when you are absolutely certain within yourself, people will instinctively believe in you, even before they fully comprehend your words or your actions. Here is a practical exercise to actively cultivate this profound capability. Frame the day before the day even begins. Each morning, before the external world inundates your mind with its demands and distractions, meticulously set your internal frame. Ask yourself these powerful questions. What emotional state will I purposefully lead with today? E.g., calm, clarity, conviction. What specific behaviors will I absolutely not tolerate, either from others or from myself? E.g., neediness, excuses, passive aggression. What is my paramount mission for today? And, given that mission, what would a king, a person of ultimate authority and integrity, do next? Write down your answers. Breathe them into your being. Then, consciously act them out. Walk into the world with the quiet confidence that it naturally belongs to your energy, your intention. The final insight regarding the frame is profound. The frame is your throne. Never allow your external environment to dictate who you are. Decide who you are first, from within. Because in a world consumed by impulsive reaction, the individual who intentionally sets the frame naturally becomes the central gravitational force around whom others orbit. Even without consciously trying. People are not fundamentally searching for absolute truth. They are, far more universally, seeking certainty. Own your certainty. Hold it firmly. Protect it with the same ferocity you would protect your very life, because your mental life, indeed, depends upon it. Do not ask for the room's energy, bring your own. Walk in with the unwavering conviction that your inner world is immovable, an unshakable fortress. And then, simply observe how the outer world subtly, instinctively, bows to your presence without a single word being uttered. If you're still with us, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe before we jump into the next section. It really motivates us to keep making more videos. Let's move on. 8. Identity shifting. Designing your future self. Most people live as if their identity is an inescapable jail sentence. They bind themselves with self-limiting declarations. I'm just not that type of person. I've always struggled with this. This is just how I've always been. These statements, while seemingly innocent, are potent chains. But here is a liberating truth that truly confident individuals already embody. You are not your past. You are, fundamentally, your pattern of choices made today. The genuinely confident do not passively inherit an identity, they actively and deliberately design it. And that powerful design process commences the precise moment you choose to stop being loyal to an outdated version of yourself. So, why do most people remain trapped within these self-imposed limitations? It's rarely due to a genuine lack of ambition. More often, it's because they tragically confuse familiarity with truth. They cling fiercely to who they have been, not because it serves them, but simply because it is predictable, even if that predictability leads to consistent misery. And society, and fortunately, often reinforces this insidious lie: you are your personality type. You're either a morning person or not. You're either confident or not. This is, at its core, psychological laziness cleverly disguised as profound self-acceptance. But confidence, authentic, and wavering confidence, truly begins the moment you declare, with absolute conviction, who I was does not limit who I'm becoming. This is the essence of identity shifting, not in a superficial, performative Instagram way, but in a profoundly Stoic manner. It's a daily, unwavering commitment to being guided by enduring principle, rather than by the fluctuating whims of a perceived personality. Epictetus, over 2,000 years ago, articulated this transformative concept with striking clarity. He taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This sounds deceptively simple, doesn't it? Yet, the vast majority of people never actually follow through on this foundational wisdom. Why? Because it demands a courageous confrontation with a painful, uncomfortable truth: you have been consistently lying to yourself. You've been repeating narratives like, I'm just not good with money, or I can't stay calm in stressful situations, or I always fall back into bad habits. And because you fundamentally believe these ingrained narratives, you instinctively act in alignment with them, thereby powerfully reinforcing the very same limiting reality. This circular, self-defeating pattern is precisely what is known as identity-based self-sabotage. The truly confident individual engages in a radical, liberating act. They interrupt this destructive loop. They cease asking themselves, is this truly me? And instead begin asking a far more empowering question: does this thought, this behavior, this choice serve who I am actively becoming? If the answer is no, then it is discarded. Not with dramatic fanfare, not with apologetic explanations, but with unwavering clarity and decisive action. The confident person doesn't exert energy trying to feel confident. Instead, they act precisely like the person they deeply respect, before they have fully become that person. And here lies the profound trick, the secret key: you become the person you consistently act like most often. This is not a deceptive act of faking it till you make it. This is the deliberate, neurological process of training your nervous system to accept a new, elevated normal. Let's be exquisitely specific. If you persistently tell yourself, I'm awkward in social settings, then you will invariably continue to shrink and withdraw in rooms full of people. But if you make the powerful declaration, I am a calm, grounded presence in every room I walk into, and then you consciously act in accordance with that new identity, your brain literally begins to rewire itself. This is because identity is not a fixed, immutable construct. It is a dynamic, continuous loop between your deeply held beliefs and your consistent behaviors. The Stoics intuitively understood this profound interconnectedness, and modern neuroscience, specifically the concept of neuroplasticity, confirms it. Your brain is, indeed, reprogrammable, but only through repetition of action, not mere theoretical understanding. So, intentionally speak differently, stand differently, move with the confident posture of someone you profoundly respect, even before you genuinely feel ready. Because the crucial insight is this: feeling follows action, not the other way around. Here's your daily practice for profound identity transformation: write the identity. Live the identity. Each morning, engage in this powerful self-inquiry: who am I actively becoming? What would that person, my highest, future self, do today? What specific thought, limiting behavior, or ingrained excuse must unequivocally die in order for me to evolve into that person? Then, having set this powerful intention, do the work. Do it not because you feel a surge of motivation, for motivation is a fickle muse. Do it because discipline is the unshakable bridge that connects the old you with the powerful future you. The final insight is a stark reality: your future doesn't care about your excuses. The singular obstacle standing between you and a brand new, empowering identity is your persistent attachment to the outdated one. And with every passing day that you hesitate, with every moment you waver, you unwittingly strengthen the suffocating grip of the very version of yourself you are desperately trying to outgrow. Let go. Not tomorrow. Not after you've fixed yourself. But now. Because the powerful person you are truly destined to be is already patiently waiting on the other side of your decisive choice. All you have to do is stop negotiating with who you used to be. 9. The power of boundaries guarding your most valuable currency energy. A truly confident person does not indiscriminately allow just anyone to wander into their emotional world. They treat their precious time, their focused attention, and their inner peace with the same reverence and vigilance with which royalty guards their throne. This is because they grasp one undeniable truth: your energy is your most valuable currency. And a profound corollary to this truth is that not everyone deserves to spend it. If you permit the wrong individuals into your inner sanctum, they will inevitably drain you. This is not always a malicious act. Sometimes, it's entirely unconscious on their part. But regardless of intent, they will rob you of your momentum, your clarity, and your profound inner power. And the Stoics, with their uncompromising focus on personal responsibility, would assert, that's your fault, not theirs. A critical concept often overlooked is that not all access is earned. We inhabit a world where constant accessibility has become the pervasive norm. Text me back, pick up the phone, join this meeting, respond to this comment, explain yourself. Yet, the truly confident individual does not feel compelled to respond to every single knock at their metaphorical door. This isn't born of rudeness, it stems from a deeply ingrained intentionality. They regard their attention as sacred ground, for indeed, it is. Seneca, offering timeless wisdom on human connection, once advised, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is mutual. This profound statement encapsulates the essence of energetic discernment. Most individuals unfortunately lack this vital skill. They say yes out of misplaced guilt, they engage in interactions out of ingrained habit, and they respond impulsively out of a crippling fear of judgment. Confident people, however, do not succumb to these pressures. They have diligently trained their nervous system to tolerate the discomfort of being misunderstood in exchange for the priceless liberation of being mentally free. Let's be unequivocally blunt. If someone consistently drains your mood, relentlessly questions your worth, or habitually violates your inner peace, they are simply too expensive to keep in your immediate orbit. This truth holds even if that person is a family member or someone you have known for years. Genuine emotional intelligence mandates that you no longer wield loyalty as a flimsy excuse to remain in environments or relationships that demonstrably kill your growth. This doesn't mean you lash out or engage in public confrontations. It means you withdraw access quietly and completely, much like a king subtly revoking the key to his inner court. In our modern world, energy has emerged as the new wealth. We are collectively obsessed with metrics of productivity, with the relentless optimization of time. But what true good is gained from meticulously managed time if you lack the fundamental mental bandwidth to actually utilize it effectively? Let's be crystal clear: energy fuels focus. Focus drives action. And consistent action meticulously builds identity. Therefore, if your energy is perpetually scattered by relentless distractions, by pervasive toxicity, or by pointless, draining drama, you are not merely tired. you are fundamentally off course from your true potential. High performers across all disciplines, whether athletes pushing physical limits, entrepreneurs forging new paths, or artists bringing visions to life, instinctively understand this. They do not permit every voice, every opinion, every demand to penetrate their sacred mental space. Instead, they assiduously cultivate emotional minimalism, fewer people, deeper focus, and ultimately, stronger results. Protecting your energy demands boundaries that simply do not blink. This means you do not feel compelled to explain your limits. You do not need to justify your chosen silence. You do not need to engage in debates about why you chose not to respond to a particular message or demand. You certainly do not need to convince anyone why you decided to walk away from a draining situation. The truly confident person never makes a public spectacle of their departure. They simply vanish from any energetic environment that no longer aligns with their chosen direction. This is where Stoicism profoundly meets modern strategy. Marcus Aurelius wisely wrote, "The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say or think or do, only what you do." This is the quintessential Stoic blueprint for meticulously protecting your energy. You do not require control over others. You only require absolute control over who is granted proximity to your spirit. That is true power. Here is a powerful daily practice to implement: the circle of access. On a piece of paper, draw a large circle. In the very center of this circle, write "my energy." Now, honestly ask yourself, who currently receives unfiltered access to my thoughts and emotions? Next, delineate, who consistently drains my energy versus who genuinely refuels me? And finally, who truly respects my silence without demanding explanations or justifications? Once you have completed this discernment, courageously adjust your interactions and commitments accordingly. Because every single time you permit a low-quality input into your precious mental space, you are inevitably delaying your own evolution. The final insight is an imperative: guard your energy as if your future depends upon it, because it absolutely does. The former version of you might have granted access freely, without much thought. The evolved version of you, however, must guard it fiercely. Your destiny is far too significant, too sacred, to rent it out to individuals who do not genuinely respect your peace. So, cease explaining yourself. Stop over-explaining. Stop apologizing for your boundaries. Your energy is your throne. Your boundaries are its vigilant guards. Act like royalty. 10. The pillars of unshakable confidence, consistency, and self-mastery. You do not magically become confident overnight. Instead, you meticulously build confidence with the same precision and dedication that a master craftsman forges a sword, through sustained pressure, relentless repetition, and unwavering consistency. This is because genuine confidence doesn't magically appear from innate talent, fleeting popularity, or a handful of isolated victories. It blossoms from the profound act of honoring small, private promises to yourself every single day. This profound truth was understood by the Stoics perhaps better than anyone. They did not chase after fleeting motivation. They diligently built unshakable momentum through unwavering discipline. Consistency is self-trust in action. Every time you commit to waking up at 6 o'clock a.m., and you actually do it, your subconscious mind receives a powerful, reinforcing whisper, "I can count on you." Every time you tell yourself, "I won't check my phone during deep work," and you successfully resist the urge, you are actively building credibility with your own self. Every single small act of self-discipline casts a powerful vote for your future, desired identity. Marcus Aurelius's potent declaration, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. B1 is not just a profound quote, it is a direct call to unwavering consistency. Because nothing has the power to shatter genuine confidence more profoundly than self-betrayal. You can adorn yourself with the right clothes, speak the right words, and project the desired image outwardly. But if, in your private moments, you are consistently breaking the promises you make to yourself, your confidence will forever remain hollow and fragile. Why? Because discipline is the very root of all real, enduring confidence. Self-discipline is emotional intelligence in dynamic motion. It is the unwavering inner resolve that tells your impulses, "I run this, not you." It is the quiet strength to resist the urge to slack off, to impulsively snap back in an argument, to scroll endlessly through digital feeds, or to simply skip your meticulously planned process. And it is undeniably not glamorous. No one is applauding for you when your alarm rings at 5 o'clock a.m. No one is praising you for courageously saying no to immediate comfort. No one is applauding when you choose to sit with uncomfortable emotions instead of seeking to numb them. But it is precisely those moments, those silent, disciplined acts, that serve as the true bricks from which inner confidence is immutably built. Because the individual who possesses the capacity to govern themselves internally can, with unwavering fortitude, withstand anything the world throws their way. To make unshakable confidence your default state, you must rigorously train these three fundamental muscles daily. Mental clarity, your mind serves as your ultimate command center. It requires consistent attention and cleanup. Journaling to unload clutter, regularly dump your thoughts onto paper to free your mind from unnecessary noise and confusion. Meditation to detach from thought spirals, practice observing your thoughts without getting entangled in negative loops. Blocking time for deep work, allocate specific, uninterrupted periods for focused, cognitively demanding tasks to sharpen your mental acuity. A mind fragmented by distraction cannot lead effectively. A clear mind, however, commands respect and direction. Emotional regulation, life will inevitably test you through challenging people, unexpected setbacks, and internal discomforts. Your primary objective is not to avoid these discomforts, but to master your response to them. The 3-second rule before reacting. Before you impulsively respond to an emotion or situation, pause and ask yourself, will this matter in 3 days, 3 months, or 3 years? This powerful question provides vital perspective. Use breath as a weapon. Consciously utilize your breath to shift your internal state. Inhale clarity, exhale chaos. The world instinctively follows those who remain calm under pressure and fire. Behavioral integrity. Act in unwavering alignment with your highest self, even when there is no external audience, even when no one is watching your actions. Honor your commitments. Do the work you explicitly said you would do. Maintain sharpening habits. Consistently adhere to the daily habits that actively sharpen your identity and propel your growth. Resist abandoning routines. Do not abandon your essential routines and practices simply because you feel uninspired or unmotivated. Remember, motivation is a fleeting spark. Discipline is the enduring fire. High-performance confidence is, in many ways, boring. And that, paradoxically, is precisely the point. Most people crave intensity, the exhilarating rush of big wins, the dramatic breakthrough moments, the clamor of applause. Confident people, however, crave consistency. They deeply understand that you don't need to go viral or achieve immediate widespread recognition. You simply need to keep going. You don't need to strive for an unattainable perfection. You need to be predictable to yourself. This is because long-term confidence is not built on fleeting hype. It is meticulously built on deeply ingrained habit. The final insight to internalize: stay fiercely loyal to the process, even when tangible results are invisible. There will inevitably be days when your monumental effort feels entirely unseen, when you begin to question if the sacrifices you're making are genuinely worth it. When you feel utterly alone in upholding your high standards. It is precisely at these critical junctures that most people succumb and quit. But that is precisely when you must double down on your commitment. The Stoics were not primarily chasing after external results, they were relentlessly pursuing virtue. And that, unequivocally, is your unparalleled edge. Epictetus's timeless formula for self-creation remains profoundly relevant. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Declare your desired identity with absolute clarity. Honor that identity with consistent, disciplined action. Repeat this cycle relentlessly until that new identity becomes your very essence. Daily recommitment is the real mark of strength, the true flex. Confidence is not a one-time achievement, a fixed state you attain and then possess forever. It is a continuous, daily recommitment to unwavering discipline, particularly in those quiet moments when no one else is observing. You don't need to feel like it. You need to become the kind of person who simply does it anyway. That is confidence. That is self-mastery. That is profound inner peace cleverly disguised as unshakable strength. Conclusion: embracing your unshakable strength. Herein lies the profound truth. You do not become truly confident by accident. You become genuinely confident when you finally stop performing for others and courageously start becoming your authentic self. This transformation isn't about becoming louder or flashier. It's about cultivating a deeper calm, a sharper clarity, and an inner strength that emanates from within your core. Because, in the final analysis, confidence isn't merely how the world perceives you. It is, fundamentally, how you choose to face the world, on your own unwavering terms, with an unshakable stillness, with profound presence, with relentless discipline. And with a quiet power that no one granted you, because you meticulously built it yourself. So, the critical question before you is no longer, do I possess confidence? The true, empowering question is, am I willing to earn it? One deliberate choice, one quiet inner victory, one consistent action at a time, every single day. Because confidence is not merely something you feel, it is something you actively prevail at, particularly in the silence, when no one else is watching. This journey of building unshakable self-mastery is within your grasp. It is a path of true strength, requiring not hype, but inner power. Embrace it, and step into the master of your own mind. Stay sharp. Stay grounded. If this video speaks to you, don't forget to subscribe now and click the playlist on your screen to unlock the treasure trove of stories, strategies, and Stoic wisdom. Let's level up together. Fuel your ambition, fortify your mind, and join me next time as we rise above all limits.